So more from Hango Hill, and with me is Devon Watson, who also was making one of the speeches, unusually, in English and all English today.
Yes.
So you might have said you're talking South African, but no.
Yes, well, maybe a bit of both, you know.
Your message was the same message, I think. Nothing new, but are you talking to people who are interested here? I mean, this is a bit different, isn't it?
Yes, well, the message today is more along the lines of how environmental justice and economic justice are one and the same. So if we have renewable energy infrastructure that is owned by the Manx people and is using terrible weather behind us, we can keep the money that we spend on power on the Isle of Man instead of sending it abroad to oil-producing dictatorships. If we have warm, insulated housing, if we have a decent free public transportation system, these are fundamental environmental reforms that make the lives of middle and working class people a lot better.
Okay, we're going to play it out now. I keep saying apologies for the sound. We were battling amazing amounts of weather, weren't we, here? So hopefully we'll now hear what you had to say.
Hopefully, thank you very much. The Coalition is an unprecedented union of Manx social and political organisations that are lobbying together to encourage, support and occasionally fight the government in order to adequately address the burning crisis of climate change. We have three main goals. The first is to invest in renewable energy infrastructure. The second is to create interim targets to reduce our carbon emissions. And lastly is to uphold our promises to UNESCO regarding our biosphere status. So what I'm talking about today is how environmental reform and economic justice are one and the same. So what are environmentalists on the Isle of Man calling for, and what are these economic reforms? We want warm, insulated houses so that no one can go cold in the winter. No one should be left out in the cold. Everyone out here is cold, so we know that the importance of warm, and we know the importance of remaining dry. We're calling for local renewable energy infrastructure. Energy independence can help us keep money on the Isle of Man instead of sending it abroad to oil-producing dictatorships. No one who's lived on the Isle of Man and enjoys wonderful weather like we have today would argue that we don't have an abundance of wind, don't have an abundance of rain, and don't have the ability to produce plentiful, cheap energy. We're calling for more support for local businesses and for people to buy Manx products that don't have to be imported in from overseas. We want a decent, free public transport system that can help connect the Isle of Man, reduce our carbon footprints, and improve the lives of working and middle-class families on the Isle of Man. Free public transport is an essential tool in the fight against climate change and inequality. We can have cleaner, quieter cities. We can have easier parking, and we can have far less congestion. We can create community spaces, and we can reduce the danger on our roads, which are twice as dangerous as those of the UK. But most importantly, for the first time in decades, we can shift the conversation on how the government can more conveniently make cuts to essential services and towards expanding and improving economic rights and services that we receive from the state. Politicians should enact environmental pledges that are in their manifestos, and they should listen to the experts when it comes to the science. We're the only country in the world to achieve biosphere status, and we should protect the biosphere and the natural beauty of our island. And we need an economy that works for average people. What aren't environmentalists asking for? We aren't saying that climate change is the fault of any individual person or group of people. We aren't fighting any individual or group of people. We don't expect anyone to be perfect. We just need people to do the best they can. We aren't looking to get rid of flying, electronics, clothing or meat. We aren't fighting against people. We're fighting against a system that's corrupt, that's broken, and doesn't give either environmental or economic outputs to ordinary individuals. Try and recycle and reduce consumption where you can, but these are relatively mild changes compared to the energy infrastructure, the transport infrastructure, and improvements to the housing stock that we need the government to make. We're calling for reform, and reform is what we need. Thank you, everybody.